Dragon Nest is the latest in a breed of free-to-play action MMORPGs coming out of South Korea. It blends fun and interesting combat and encounters with item and skill systems torn from other MMORPGs with a dollop of genuine wit, but it's not without its flaws. Although Dragon Nest is brand new to the Western world and has only been out in Korea for a little while longer, it looks about a decade old. Characters are simplistic and low in polygon count, and textures never really get very detailed. Like the majority of free-to-play games, it never approaches being a graphical powerhouse, and never really tries to be. Instead, it leaves the gameplay and dialogue to drive a player's interest. In other words, if your PC was made after 2001, you can probably play it. The art style, which looks something like an illustrated children's book, does make Dragon Nest more interesting visually than it otherwise might have been. Dragon Nest's story of a prophet kidnapped by a dark knight who apparently serves a dragon cult is told in bits and pieces through quests and cinematics. The dialogue, by the way, is very snappy. The snippets of voice work do a great deal to give each character a unique personality, and the text that frames each quest brings that personality out further. The dialogue also imbues your own character with personality, making him, or her, sassy, snarky, and genuinely funny. In Dragon Nest, there are 4 base classes, and each plays entirely uniquely. At level 15, they branch into 2 more classes each, which is when you get access to the really cool moves. You primarily fight in 15-minute long dungeons, each of which has 5 difficulty levels. Combat is where Dragon Nest really shines. Each attack flows into the next, and each skill has its own purpose or situation. If I'm fighting a single strong enemy, I'm going to use my lightning relic attack differently than if I were fighting a group of weaker enemies. There's a very good range of enemies too, and their appearance usually gives a good indication of what their fighting style will be. Big minotaurs should be dodged and fought carefully, for example, while groups of kobolds can usually be safely dived into and destroyed mercilessly. Most of the bosses have their own sets of moves and require their own strategy to be defeated. With each dungeon lasting about 15 minutes, there are plenty of opportunities to fight these bosses too. But like I said, Dragon Nest isn't perfect. Player versus player combat is fun in small groups, but tends to become too chaotic and frustrating with more than 8 or so players involved. And the large gaps between item upgrades mean you may be holding onto a powerful piece of weaponry in your very limited inventory for several levels. Your items can be upgraded through several means, but they require rare item drops or risk destroying your item altogether. Dragon Nest's flaws are small and don't detract from the fun of the fight too much. Its session-based structure and cute, simplistic look may throw some players off before they ever really submerge themselves, and that's a shame. There's a lot of good to be found in this free-to-play game. For more on Dragon Nest, head over to IGN.com.